Last night, 7:30, Austin Novosad, quarterback Dripping Springs High School, who committed to Baylor in December, reaffirmed that commitment after taking more visits in the last few weeks. And he joins us on 365 Sports and Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, and David Smoak. Austin, thanks for your time. I'm sure it's been a busy summer for you. Did you feel any kind of sense of relief after 7:30 last night?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's been a long recruiting process for me, but getting that recruitment kind of wrapped up and feeling confident about your decision was definitely a relief for me.
Austin, what was it like you committed to Baylor early on, but then here in the last couple months, all of a sudden, everybody kind of wants to get a piece of you and get and see you and bring you in. How difficult did that make it? I'm sure you had a little fun with it, but what was the whole process of all of a sudden Ohio State and Notre Dame and A&M, all these people who hadn't called you before, all of a sudden pick up the phone?
Yes, I mean, getting out to those big-time programs and, making a relationship with those coaches, you never know if those guys are going to be in the NFL or where they'll be. And I think just seeing those programs and how they run, I think was definitely a great experience. And, a lot of kids don't get to do this. So for me, just getting out there and checking everything out and making sure that I was going to go to the best college that fit me the best. And I think that, ultimately I got to see everywhere and, Baylor was the place in the end. So it was definitely a fun experience.
So, Austin, how did you reveal the news to the coaching staff? Kind of take us through that.
So it was actually yesterday about midday. I told Coach Bell and Coach Aranda, and, actually he made me say it again. I was like, yeah, Coach, I'm going to come to Baylor. And he put me on speakerphone, and the whole staff was in the room. And, they were very excited, to kind of get that, that confident feeling that I was coming. And so then I was like, yeah, tonight I'll post it. And so that's kind of how it went down.
Austin, how much of this also your decision? We know your parents obviously were A&M graduates. How much of your decision is you wanting to build your own legacy?
Yeah, I mean, both my parents went to A&M, growing up an Aggie and, know all their traditions. But I think that, for me, just getting to Baylor and kind of doing my own thing and getting developed by Coach Bell, I think is kind of what I wanted to do. And I think I can be very successful there.
How impressed were you with how the Baylor coaches handled these trips just to make sure you were understanding of who and what you were looking at in the future?
Yeah, they were very respectful, and I think, Coach Aranda handled it great, letting me get to see these schools because, before every visit I let him know where I was going, and he was like, look, Austin, I just want the best for you, and I want you to go see all the opportunities that you have. And so I think that was, great. And I think that, I respect him a lot for doing that. So they all handled it great, him and Coach Bell and Coach Grimes. It was good.
Did you ever wobble on your commitment to Baylor? Was there ever a time you thought that quite maybe wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely times it got, close and, other schools and the recruiting process did kind of gain my interest. At one time, I mean, I thought about it, going somewhere else, but, kind of looked back and just kind of really thought to myself, what's the best spot for me and where I can, have the most success. And, that kind of always trended back to Baylor. So I think that's kind of what made me kind of get back to Baylor. And I think taking those last couple of visits over this last month, I think really just kind of put icing on the cake and, kind of ultimately close my decision.
What's it like, though, to walk into a room and then you've got Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman or Jimbo Fisher and all these people, pitching you all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean, the best of the best. They're all great coaches. All the programs were good, but they were all different, different philosophies, different staffs. And I think that, just getting to hear all the knowledge that they have, I took in a lot from all these programs, and I think it was a good experience for me. So.
How unique is Dave Aranda? Because on the outside looking in, he appears pretty unique, and getting to hear him more often than most. I mean, he seems unique compared to most coaches, but having, had the experiences with several others. How unique is Dave Aranda in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a genuine guy. He cares a lot about all his players, the families he's recruiting, everyone. And I think that, he's a soft-spoken guy, but the words that he puts out are just so meaningful. And I think that he handles every situation the best that it can be. And I think that people, when they get on campus, they notice that. And, I definitely noticed that. And so, I have a lot of respect for him.
So tell me about your buddies. I think we're over at the house last night when you made it official. But did you guys play a joke on one of your friends? Was there some kind of jersey that others were wearing when he was there? Can you kind of clean that up for me?
Yeah, I mean, my friends, they were all over, and one of my friends, they're all in my recruitment and stuff, and have supported me throughout the way, and they got kind of confused at the end. And I thought I was just messing with him. But I had on a Notre Dame shirt. My whole family put on a Notre Dame shirt because we had some green and white balloons, obviously for Baylor. But he thought it was Notre Dame, and so he got all excited, and then it was Baylor. And so it was kind of funny just to mess with him. But, it was a good decision for me. So.
Austin Novosad, quarterback, Dripping Springs High School with us. Baylor commitment on Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
Now, Austin, do you go to work closing whatever else has to be closed? Have you talked to other recruits since you've committed?
Yes, sir, I have. I mean, I've met them all at the barbecue, the ones that I haven't met. But, I've talked to most of them, so they all know and everything. We're all good.
What was it like knowing that there was an idea of your talent maybe a year or even before then with what you have, the arm talent and what you do as a quarterback, but that maybe some weren't so sure, and then all of a sudden you start rising up the ranks, the Elite 11, of course, which was earlier this summer, camps even before then. What was the interest like from a lot of coaches that maybe initially did not think you were for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always kind of saw it, probably my freshman year, I thought that I could do it. And I think that, just kind of being an under the radar kid, I think I just kind of let the media do their thing, and I put my head down and worked. And then I think that, just getting the exposure that I did, it finally got noticed. And so then coaches started to call, and then, I started getting recognized. And I think that from there, once you kind of get out there, I think it kind of the work pays off, and it kind of goes from there.
Were there coaches that maybe a year ago or so saw you, but they didn't really go in with you or weren't that interested, and then all of a sudden later on they were, that maybe regret what they were doing before?
Yeah, I mean, one, just actually my first call ever was probably my sophomore year during track season. I was about to run a race, and I called my dad. I was super happy, but Penn State was actually my very first call, and they never offered, but we had stayed in contact. I went up there and camped and stuff, but that was just kind of one that they didn't go all in, but we had talked, and then there was a couple others too, but most did jump in after.
Austin Novosad, Dripping Springs High School, Baylor commit, Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. So practices have begun. I don't know if you guys are yet through that as far as the official start. Of course, yesterday for most of the state of Texas. What's that? Is the timing of that one reason why you made the decision now to get it out of the way?
It was. I mean, I definitely wanted to just have it closed before my season. And I think that, this senior season is very important, and I kind of wanted to be done with the recruiting process so I can just be all in and give my team everything I have, because I think the recruiting process doesn't distract you, but at the same time, I feel like, your focus isn't all on your senior season if you're messing with other coaches or calls or whatever you got going on. So I think that, having it done for me was a big deal. I'm glad that I got it done.
What did you learn about yourself during this process?
Yeah, I mean, just, I think I'm very calm and collected. I think I handled it from what other coaches say the right way. And I think that, just finding the best place for me throughout this process was a big deal. And so making sure that I called all the coaches before I did commit to Baylor, and doing it the right way was kind of what I learned about me.
One more thing, Austin. You obviously mentioned Aranda's personality, and I've been told you have maybe more close to his personality or maybe Jeff Grimes. How do you describe Sean Bell's personality throughout this entire time?
Gosh, I mean, one thing me and Coach Bell have in common is just the competitiveness, always competing. And I think that, that's a big part of me. And, Coach Aranda is very competitive too. He's just a little bit more quiet than, me or Coach Bell. And I think that, everyone on the whole staff wants to win. You just get there either at, the barbecue or the OV, whatever it was. We were always playing games and competing. So I think that's something we all have in common.
Dripping Springs now 6A, Westlake, Lake Travis, among others now that are on the schedule. Austin, thanks for your time. I think it's great what you did. And if you had committed somewhere else, I just think it's great that you wanted to make sure. Thanks for your time. Good luck this season, your senior year. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Austin Novosad, Dripping Springs quarterback, committed to Baylor and then went on some trips. How about if you had a chance to visit Notre Dame and then Ohio State with what they've done with their quarterback play with Ryan Day, and then also, and even before then, and then also where your mom and dad went to school at A&M and what they're doing with their recruiting a part of the SEC and the push that they've made in recent years. And he sticks with Baylor and also Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes, Sean Bell, and company. This is Sikkim 365 Radio and